Hello and welcome to my favourite video of every month, and that is the reading wrap up. So here are all of the books I read in the month of May. We're going to talk about them, we're going to discuss them, we're going to review them, and I'm going to give you my ratings. Yeah, let's deep dive into all of the books that I read in May. We're going to start off incredibly strong, and that is with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is one of my favourite books of the year so far. This is my first Kristen Hanna book and my first historical fiction book, and this follows the story of two sisters in France during World War II, and it's kind of just exploring their journey and their struggle to survival and the things that they go through and the things that they have to endure and experience in order to try and keep themselves and their loved ones safe. It is so heartbreaking. Like, when I tell you, in my 27 years of being alive, I've never cried as hard as I cried at this book, at the end of this book anyway. Wow. This is so beautiful. I just think it's a story, I think everyone should read it. Like, I fear it rewired my brain, to be honest. It's just brilliant. It's so emotional. It's so powerful. It's just, yeah, I've never read anything like it, and I honestly couldn't recommend this enough. This was an easy 5-star read for me. Easy 5-star read. Followed by another 5-star read, actually. I didn't read these in this order, but they're just the order that I'm picking them up in, but I did have another 5-star read. And that is My Friends by Fredrik Backman. So this, in the UK, this doesn't actually come out until the 19th of June, but I was so lucky in that Simon Schuster sent me an early proof copy of this book, which was actually one of my most anticipated releases of this year. So yeah, you can imagine the scream I screamed when I got this proof copy. So this story we're basically following, it's all centered around this painting. This painting, this like world famous painting that's in museums and stuff, and there's a young girl called Louisa. She's 18 and she's really been through a lot, and she's going through a lot, and she's having a really hard time in life, really. And one thing in life that she loves is this painting. She feels so deeply connected to this painting, and she notices things about this painting that other people don't really appreciate and don't really notice. And yeah, she's really like, she doesn't know anything about who painted the painting or the people that are featured in the painting, but she's kind of like obsessed with them and obsessed with this painting and obsessed with the artist and obsessed with the people in it, even though she doesn't know them. Anyway, paths cross and we end up getting the story of the artist and of the friendship group that feature in the painting, because they're in like in their 40s now, maybe, I think. So we get their story and their story from years ago and their friendship group and how their friendship developed and everything. And then we get Louisa's story as well that she's currently living in. We get the paths crossing, but in a very seamless way. And that's really kind of all I can say about it. Fredrik Backman's books really kind of are just the embodiment of the human experience. He writes things and he tells this story of things that we all experience and we all can relate to. For example, grief is quite a big topic in this book, and I think it was written brilliantly. It's just incredible. I actually struggle to talk about Fredrik Backman books because, one, I don't want to spoil anything, and two, I can't do it justice. Like, nothing I say can do his writing justice. He is just he's incredible. He's incredible, and this book is a masterpiece. I adored it. 5 stars. Then we've got a dark romance, and that is Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent, which only just came out on the 27th of May, but I read it a while ago. I was lucky enough to get an early copy of this. I'm obsessed with the cover as well, by the way. So in this book, we are following Dahlia, and Dahlia's sister is currently in a coma. And at the college that Dahlia goes to, there is this hockey team, and the captain of the hockey team is part of this, like, he's an elite member of this secret society. And Dahlia thinks that this secret society have got something to do with why her sister is in a coma. She doesn't know why, but she's like, there's a connection there. They've got something to do with this. And I'm hell-bent on revenge. I'm going to find out what's happened and whatnot. So in order to do that, she tries to get close to Kane, who is the captain of the hockey team and is the elite member of this secret society, because she wants to, you know, get close to him. She wants to find out things. And that's kind of where the story unfolds. I won't really give you any much more than that. But this is a dark romance, so please do check your trigger warnings because it is unhinged. But this for me was probably one of the best Rena Kent books in terms of the plot. I feel like the plot was strongest in this because we're getting the two main characters and their stories and their backstories and the romance between them, but we also are getting insight into the secret society and insight into what happened as to why her, like the mystery of why her sister is in a coma. So there's lots going on. And I just think in terms of plot, it was very, very strong. I really, really liked it. And honestly, when it ended, I was gutted. I thought, oh, I could have carried on reading that for longer. Like, I wish it was a bit longer, which said nobody ever. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this and I rated it 4.5 stars. Then we have Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford, which is the last book in the Windy City series. We are getting a spin-off, but this is like officially the last book. And this is a second chance romance. So we've got Rio, who is featured heavily he's featured heavily as a side character in the other books. And he's never we've never known him to be romantically involved with anyone. We don't really know why that is. Anyway, we are also then introduced to Hallie in this book, and Hallie and Rio know each other from childhood. They were next door neighbours, they kind of grew up together, they were together, and that all came crashing down. We don't know why, but we slowly find out through past and present chapters what happened between them, why they split up, why they now hate each other and don't even want to be around each other. And yeah, it was just brilliant. It was actually so brilliant. And this is coming from someone that usually hates second chance romance, and I hate past and present chapters. But this one is an exception to the rule because it was done so well. It was written so well. It was paced so well. It was just done really, really well. I absolutely loved it so much. For me, this was the perfect conclusion to a perfect series. And I really loved it. It was so cute. It was so romantic. It had some great spice in it, but it also was slow burn, but it also had emotional depth to it as well. So I feel like it kind of had everything, and I rated this 4.5 stars. Then we've got Releasing 10 by Chloe Walsh, and I don't know what to say about this book, to be honest. I did do a review of this book on TikTok and have since had to delete it because, wow, yeah, what I kind of experienced over on TikTok over the last couple of days was quite horrific, actually. Yeah, I'm trying to tread carefully here with what I say. What I am going to say is this book will not be for everyone. Now, the Boys of Tommen series has always been one of my favourite series ever. I absolutely have loved it. This book is definitely the darkest and the most traumatic from the series, and it's graphic as well. So there is some trigger warnings at the start of the book, and I did read those. However, I still wasn't expecting the book to be as graphic as it was. So I just want to make people aware that please do read your trigger warnings, and the things that are mentioned in these trigger warnings, please also be aware that they are, in my opinion, this book is more graphic than the other books. So yeah, because I just went into this expecting the kind of story to be told in like a few flashbacks, a few graphic scenes, and that was kind of it. So I went into it with the wrong expectations, which is my problem. It's no one else's problem, that's my problem. But I just want to let others know to just proceed with caution. It is very graphic, and like I said, it's not going to be for everyone. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me, and I did say in my review that I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on the series, just because for me this was hard to read, and I don't really need to justify myself, but also I think I understand this is going to have a different impact on everyone. Some people have said that they really found this book quite healing for them, and I completely respect that, and I'm so glad that it's had that impact on so many people. I think that's a beautiful thing for it to be able to do. Everyone's reading experience with this book is going to be different, and mine was a negative reading experience, but I also understand that for some people it was a really positive reading experience, and that is okay. But what I do just want to say is I don't condone bullying of anyone. I don't think I should be bullied for not liking this book. I don't think people that did like this book should be bullied, and I don't think the author of this book should be bullied. I just don't condone bullying in any way, shape or form, and my channel or my page or whatever will never be a space for bullying. Bullying is something I will never take part in, and that is that. I don't condone it. I'm wholeheartedly against bullying. But what I will say is there is a difference between saying, I don't like this book, here's why I don't like this book, and bullying an author. So just having a negative opinion of a book is not bullying an author. We are all entitled to have a negative opinion, a positive opinion, and I think we should be able to have healthy discussions around that. I personally love getting other people's opinions on books, even when it's totally different to mine. I love that conversation and, oh really, why did you not like it? Or why did you like it? You know, I really like that, and I think we should be able to have those conversations. I tried to do a review of this on TikTok, which I thought was done in a respectful way. I said why I didn't like it. I gave my opinion on it. I didn't bash the author in any way, shape or form. Didn't say a bad word about the author at all. I didn't tell anyone to not read this book. I did say, you know, give it a try and let me know what you think of it. You might feel completely different to me, but I just think this book is just such a sensitive subject, and understandably, because the topics that it's covered are so, they are so sensitive. It's horrific and it's traumatic, and it is things that people do experience in real life. I wouldn't rate this book because of the topics that it's covered. I would not feel comfortable to assign like a star rating to a book that is this deep, and the stuff that it's covered, I wouldn't feel comfortable to rate it, so I'm not going to. I just really wanted to say, please proceed with caution. Please know your trigger warnings. Please know, like, just be aware that it is graphic and it is dark. So read it when you feel like you can read it. Don't force yourself to read it just because everyone else is, you know, if you're not feeling in the right mental space for it. But also, please, just generally on the internet, can we please try and be kinder to each other? Because, yeah, I don't think anyone should be kind of ripped apart on the internet just for not liking a book, or for liking a book. But yeah, I will not be rating this book. Then we've got Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, this comes out on the 10th of June, but again, I was incredibly lucky to get a proof copy of it. So this book follows a group of individuals, men and women, in the 1980s. Is it 1980s? Yeah, in the 1980s space shuttle program. So, and it kind of just explores that group of people. We do have a main character, but it explores that group of people in the space shuttle program, and this is a love story, but it explores really all different kinds of love. It explores platonic love, it explores like found family kind of love, it explores romantic love. It just is, it's really a really good and powerful story actually, and I really liked it. And the writing, Taylor Jenkins Reid, her writing is just gorgeous. She's such a brilliant storyteller. The only thing for me, like I really loved this book and I did rate it 4 stars, but the only thing for me that kind of stopped me from rating it higher was just that when you first start this book, we're kind of thrown in straight away to the stuff about NASA and the spaceships, and there's a lot of like space lingo and stuff that I, as someone that doesn't know anything about that, I was completely lost. I was reading it like, what is this? Like I could have done with a glossary. So it took me a minute to kind of find my feet with it. So that was the only thing that I really did struggle with it at first. But once I got my head around things, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the writing was great. I thought it was a very powerful, beautiful story. It was extremely emotional. I cried like a bitch towards the end of this book. But yeah, highly recommend. Then we've got Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. So this is a second chance romance, and it's past and present POV. Again, like I've said in this video, I don't usually like those kind of things. This book for me is pretty much the same as, like very extremely similar anyway, to Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I hated that book, but this book, I think the way it was done and the characters and stuff, I preferred this one. I think it is very similar to Love and Other Words, but in my opinion, like a better version of it. It's a good summer read, obviously hence the title, but it's set on this like lake house, and it follows female main character Persephone, and she kind of, her family gets this house on the lake, and she meets the 2 boys that live in the house next door, and they become friends. They're all there at this lake every summer, and we kind of follow them throughout each summer as they're growing up really. And Percy and one of the brothers, Sam, kind of develop a romance, and in the present day they haven't spoken for like 12 years. So we're obviously getting the past chapters and finding out, we see their love story grow, we see it fall apart, we find out the reasoning as to why it fell apart and everything like that. So yeah, it's It's good. I can understand why people like this. I personally didn't, just because it has a trope in it that I cannot get on board with. Like, as soon as this trope comes about, I'm instantly like, no, hate it. Like, instantly, we're gonna knock at least 2 stars off just for that trope, because I personally hate it to my core. But that being said, this book, I can see why people like it, and I think the writing and the setting were brilliant. So I rated this a 3 stars. I thought, you know, let's be fair, let's rate this a 3 stars. So yeah, it was fine. And then we've got One Golden Summer, which technically follows on from Every Summer After. You can read them both as standalones, they are interconnected, but in this book we basically follow the other brother from this book. So we follow Sam's brother Charlie. This is his book. And I really liked Charlie in Every Summer After. So I was really excited to get his book, because I just think Charlie is such a charming, endearing, funny just character. Like, he's such a flirt, he's such a charmer. And I always love that kind of like cheeky male main character kind of vibe, and that's exactly what he is. And yeah, in this book, he's still on the lake and he meets Alice, who takes a trip there. Is she called Alice? Why did I just forget her name? Yeah, Alice. He meets Alice, who takes a trip there with her grandmother for the summer. They're like, this book, they are adults. This is totally different to Every Summer After. They are like, Charlie is an adult in this book. So he meets Alice, and it's kind of, I would say, friends to lovers. They develop a friendship and things go from there. We really dig deep into Charlie's character, which I was really glad about, because like I say, I was so intrigued by him. The only thing that kind of annoyed me a tiny bit in this book was just, I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication trope, only a tiny bit. Like, it was enough that I could live with it, like it wasn't a big deal, but it just would have been better without that. Like, you know, when something like so easily could have been solved with one conversation. It really winds me up, because I'm such a communication girly. I think communication is key. Yeah, so we could have saved a lot of stuff with one conversation, really. But the actual book, the writing was great. I loved Charlie, I loved Alice, I loved the slow burn and like the natural progression of the friendship and relationship and stuff. Lots of tension, lots of banter. I just thought it was great. I thought it was really, really brilliant, and I rated it 4 stars. Then I have started reading is the series called The Light That Blinds Us series? I don't know what the actual series is called, but book 1 is The Light That Blinds Us and book 2 is The Dark That Hides Us by Andy Darcy Theo. This is a YA debut fantasy series, and wow, it's so much fun. Oh my god. So I'm not gonna like go too much into it, because for me, I can't really talk about fantasy books without spoiling them. So book 1, basically we've got our male main character Alexis, and from a really, really young age, Alexis has been experiencing some like really horrific hallucinations, so we kind of get a little bit of an insight into that. And then one day, Alexis and his friend, who he's got a crush on, Demi, take a trip to Stonehenge, and crazy shit happens at Stonehenge, and they are kind of thrown in to this whole new world. We've got elemental magic, we've got weird and wonderful creatures, we've got found family, we've got crumbs of a romance. It's so action-packed, so adventurous, so many lovable characters. It is brilliant. It is brilliant. And then obviously book 2 follows on from book 1, so I can't really say any more about that. But what I am gonna say is that I think this series is gonna be like a very good, well-loved 5-star series overall for me. I've not rated these books 5 stars. I would give these like 4, but the actual series as a whole, I think, is just gonna be so brilliant. I think it's gonna be, is it gonna be a trilogy? I don't know. But these 2 books, fantastic, so adventurous. The characters are just, they're written so well, they've got so much depth to them. I want to go on adventures with these characters for the rest of my life, actually. This is a series that I will probably never want to end, because I'm just loving it. It's so much fun, it's brilliant, couldn't recommend it enough. Now let's talk about what I read on my Kindle. There's only a couple that I read on my Kindle. So first of all, I read an arc of Found With You by Lindsay Harper. Now, Lindsay is one of my OG Book Talk besties, and she's now an author. She wrote a book, she did that. And I was lucky enough to get an ARC copy of it. It comes out on the 3rd of June, so stay tuned for that. This is a small town romance. The setting of it is gorgeous. I think she describes it as like a mountain town romance instead of small town romance, to be honest. The setting of it is beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous. And what I love about it is that it is a spicy small town romance, but it also has a lot of like mental health representation. It just has a lot of depth to it. For example, I think one thing it explores really well is the complexities of grief and how grief is not really as linear as you might think it should be, and you know, you might feel like you have to feel a certain way when someone passes away, but if you had a complex relationship with them, it's not always that straightforward. So yeah, just a lot of emotional depth to it. I thought, wow, to say this is a debut novel, it was written really, really well. I was instantly hooked. I read it in one day. Like, I literally read it in one sitting, basically. It was just so easy to read. The pacing was brilliant. The chapters weren't too long. So I thought it was done very well. I love a grumpy male main character, which is exactly what we get. He is so grumpy and so bossy and just like such an arse really at first, but in a lovable way. Do you know, like, you'll love him. He's hot. Like, I fancy the pants off him. Yeah, and then we've got our female main character, Millie, who is just such a sweetheart. So yeah, like I say, it was just really, really good. It was really such an easy read, such a good read. And I'm so excited for this series to continue and to get more and more of Lindsay's work, because I really, really loved it. And I rated this one 4 stars. Then I also got an arc of Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. As I'm filming this, I can't remember what date that comes out, but I'll leave it on the screen. I adore this series. So this is the 4th book in the Vancouver Storm series. And I think that is such an underrated sports romance series, because yeah, like I say, I'm absolutely loving it. They are interconnected standalone, so you could read any of them on their own, but I think it's just best to read them as a series in order just to get the full effect really. But this one has actually taken top spot of my favourite of the series. I adored it. This is enemies to lovers at its finest. Like, they hate each other. And really, the reason that they hate each other is it's all a big misunderstanding. Like, he thinks something about her and she thinks something about him, and it's all a big misunderstanding, but they hate each other. Like, they absolutely hate each other, and they work, like, she works for the hockey team that he plays for. And basically they're both kind of in a bit of a sticky situation, which means that one thing that would really help them out is if they were legally married. And they both kind of need that. It would benefit them both. So lo and behold, what do you think happens? Oh my God, the tension, the build up, the slow burn, the way that they are actually animated, like, they hate each other so bad. Like, they really can't stand each other. Oh my God, it was perfect. Guys, it was perfect. I loved it so much. I loved I adored it. I absolutely adored it. This was a 4.75 star read for me. It was chef's kiss. Spicy, cute, romantic, emotional depth, everything. Everything. It was so good. And then the last book is Between the Pines by Amber Palmer. This is, honestly, I read this towards the beginning of the month because it was my book club's pick for May. My book club is on Fable. I'll leave a little screenshot here, like, if you want to join us. So yeah, this was my book club's pick for May, and I'm gonna be so honest, I can't really remember. I think it's like one night stand, then they don't see each other for like a year or 2 years, and then he ends up working on the ranch that she basically, like, her family owns, but she's got a boyfriend at that time. So yeah, it's basically a cute, spicy cowboy romance. Super easy read, super fun read. I think a great palate cleanser. It does its job. It's just not something that I would be like thinking about or would be like rereading or like going out of my way to recommend, you know? But it's a good time. I enjoyed it. I had fun. So that is that. And I think that concludes everything that I read in the month of May. Now, whenever I watch these videos back, I do always realise that I have forgotten something. But I'm feeling confident with this video that I haven't missed anything out. If I have, then I'm just an idiot. But hey ho. Wait, there was not a lot of fantasy this month, was there? I'm clearly in my romance girly era. Not mad about it. I think when summer comes around, I'm always like, I just want a romance. I just want a romance. But my lineup for June is gonna slap. I just know it. I'm gonna actually, as soon as I stop filming this, I'm gonna go and film a June TBR video. Why the hell not, you know? So, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching my May reading wrap up. As I say every month, they're my favourite videos to film. I love to yap about the books that I've read. Let me know what you guys read in May, or what your favourite book was you read in May, or what your least favourite book you read was in May. Let me know if you've read any of these ones and you just want to chat about them. I don't know, anything. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please do the usual, like, comment, subscribe, and I really, really hope to see you next time. Bye!